3 new characters, one for each role in the game. Check out their abilities, their unique lore, and even some voice lines.
I am the one who shall be victorious.
Hi, I'm Savannah. I'm a digital artist specialized in character design and concept art. Marvel Rivals, huh? I gotta start this video by saying that I am and have been in love with the game since its first trailer, and in love with Marvel. Since I can remember. With the love I have for the game, I simply cannot stop imagining concepts for new heroes. So with all these ideas floating around in my mind and my urge to post more of my art, I just put one and one together, decided to make it a video. So come with me as I design 3 new characters. Before we start though, I'd just like to let you know about my
Design philosophy.
It's quick, don't skip it. I won't be trying to match Rival's art style. I know, it's a bummer, but hear me out. During early development, when artists work on concept art, there's no defined art style yet. That's when you get those wild, explorative renditions. And that's the heart of a great project. At least for me. I'm just saying that I love concept art. I love looking at it, and I love working on it. So I'll keep the concept art look in my mind. I mean, check out this Magneto, for example. Doesn't he look like the coolest thing ever? Seeing this actually makes me want to play the character. You know, instead of maining 8 different duelists, I am not proud of that, just so you know. I'll also be trying to come up with something new, like the Rivals artist did for Namor. I like his classic look, but it's just so refreshing seeing an old design get a new light. It actually made me like the guy. Okay, with all of that said, let's get to the fun part. Our first character is going to be the one and only Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp.
Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp, first appeared in Tales to Astonish number 44 in June of 1963. She's one of the Avengers' founding members, as well as the one who suggested the team's name. With her cheerful and fierce personality, many people see her as the heart of the group. She fights crime alongside the world's mightiest heroes, or as a duo, together with her husband, the Ant-Man, Dr. Hank Pym. The Wasp may often be small, but she packs quite a punch. With her bioelectric blasts, a quick and zippy flight, and the ability to not only shrink, but grow in size as well, she sure is a powerful and reliable superhero.
I mean, seriously, if you've never seen any good adaptation of Janet's Wasp before, go check out Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I promise, you will not regret it. So, if we were to imagine the Wasp as a playable character on Rivals, many would see her as a duelist or strategist. And that's why I decided to flip it up a bit. The Wasp is going to be nothing shorter than a vanguard. I'll also be trying to come up with something new. See? I just love to give myself a challenge. Going away from the obvious can be really rewarding. The first idea I had for this version of Wasp came from a page in the 2024 run of the Ultimates. I just love how Janet looks being this tall. Carrying Hank, it's just perfection. The image of a tall, more ground-based Wasp really stuck with me, so I started building a story to explain such drastic changes. Here it is. The start of her backstory is pretty much the same. She joined the Avengers together with Hank, the Ant-Man, gave the team its name, got married, yada yada yada. So let's get to the part where it all started to go wrong. After Ultron's first attack, the psychological well-being of Janet's husband, Hank Pym, started to deteriorate. He had fought against countless enemies, seen countless paths of destruction and death. But this one was different. Personal. This burden sent the doctor into a deep depression, and with a great fear of failure, of looking weak, Hank refused to open up, even with the ones that love him the most. With all this turmoil brewing free in his mind, he started having some episodes. During said episodes, he would black out and wake up some hours later, doing unusual things and working on strange experiments. Hank would later find out that during these blackouts, he would be acting weird, going about his day as an ignorant and egocentric person, being hurtful to everyone around him. Months passed since the first episodes. Janet tried to get through to him multiple times, but she was never successful. So, during their last and most painful argument, they realized that the best thing would be for them to part ways. The divorce hit Janet hard, She tried to keep things together but couldn't, so she made the hardest decision of her life and quit the Avengers, with the intention to learn more about herself, not as the Wasp or Hank's ex-wife, but as Janet Van Dyne. With the newly found free time, she rediscovered her love for art, especially fashion design, and with much study and dedication, she eventually launched her own clothing brand, Van Dyne's, that actually exists in the game, by the way. Janet found great success with her brand. She was not only designing gorgeous pieces of clothing, but also suits for her fellow superheroes. Years after the divorce, things were finally looking good again, but this peace was bound to be short-lived. A new villain had appeared. With his use of pin particle technology and the display of a genius intellect, Jan knew that he was no common foe. So, against her own plans, she decided to suit up once more, but not before donning some clothes from Van Dyne's Wasp collection. You know, just to show that when you dress Van Dyne's, you're not only in style, you're in the protection of a hero. With a clear goal and a fresh new look, the Wasp made her comeback. The only thing that Janet didn't account for, though, would be an uninvited sidekick. Who am I talking about? Let's not rush it. You'll get to meet him very, very soon. So, without further ado, here's the finished design for our first character, the unstoppable Wasp.
Once an Avenger? Yeah, whatever Hawkeye says.
So, what'd you think? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Tell me. Actually, if you hate it, don't tell me. I might cry. Okay, jokes aside, for her design, making her tall naturally led me to Vanguard, and her backstory ties into it. She's coming back as the Wasp after some time, but she's changed. Shrinking was never what made her weak, but after everything, she's no longer fond of being small, so she uses her powers to grow instead. Every time the all-new Wasp arrives, she's rocking a tall stature, with 6 wings to ensure a steady flight. If the old Wasp used to hit like a bullet, the all-new Wasp hits like a car being thrown by the Hulk.
I used to tackle fights by circling the enemy and shooting my stings, but now I realized a tall stature and some bioelectric punches can solve most problems in a way shorter time.
I designed her suit to resemble the Ultimates 2024 look, with some minor tweaks, like an open chest and big shoulder pads. The open chest, for example, was made just so I could give her a tattoo. I colored the tattoo and some details red, just as a little nod to her first ever superhero suit.
Yeah, I kinda quit the Avengers. They're still like family, but I'm doing my own thing now. Living the double life of a fashion designer and a vigilante. Vigilante? Wait, did I demo myself?
Her fashion is Y2K, purely, solely Y2K, and she rocks that vibe effortlessly. And, as I quickly mentioned, she wears her own brand's clothing on top of her old suit. And let me tell you, Van Dyne's clothing takes quite a beating before getting damaged. You're in the protection of a hero, after all. So come on, tell me she doesn't look great. Okay, now for her abilities. The Wasp can use her bioelectricity to shoot sting blasts, deliver ground-shattering strikes, or create bioelectric shields and domes to protect allies. She can temporarily shrink to reposition or flee unnoticed, making it all the more impressive when a wasp-sized blinking light suddenly grows into a tall, mighty figure looking for a fight. Rhyme not intended, but very welcome. She can use her half-dozen of insectoid wings to slow her fall or to fly towards where help's needed. And if things get dire, she launches herself above the enemy and comes crashing down like a bioelectric meteor, disorienting and damaging whoever was dumb or unlucky enough to go against the towering and unstoppable Wasp. Okay, one roll done, 2 more to go. Here's a little side note. I'm really new to this making a video thing, and let me tell you something about the script. This is looking huge. I'm praying for this video not to be too long. You already know the answer, of course, but I don't, so I'll remain worried, I guess. Another side note. Can I say bitch? You know, shit, fuck. Can I? Because I always see people beeping swear words. Yeah, gotta look into this. And the next roll is... Duelist! The order in which I'm revealing this isn't random, by the way. I chose it. There's no roulette. This is just editing. So why did I leave a strategist to the very end? Is it because it's my least favorite role in the game? Or, you know, it's because it's best for the structure of the video? Or because, you know, because my second favorite Marvel character ever got stuck with this role, despite the fact he could have worked way better as a duelist or even a vanguard. Yeah, I don't know the answer. I better calm down, I'll die on this hill. I even drew concept art of him in another role, and it looks great. His design is killer though, can't argue with that. Very good. Wouldn't change it for the world. Our next character is a duelist. Let's get to know the all-new Wasp sidekick.
The Ant-Man. Truly one of Marvel's household names, even if other something man character that's also a genius, an inventor, and part of the Avengers ended up being way more popular than our fellow size-changing superhero. We simply can't deny the gigantic impact that Hank Pym had on Marvel as a whole. But wait, isn't Hank the villain that the unstoppable Wasp will be going against now? It is. So I can only be talking about the next best thing. This Ant-Man first appeared in 1979, both in the Avengers 181 in March and in Marvel Premiere 47 in April. Scott Lang is an expert in electronics and ex-burglar who, after being imprisoned, decided to reform his life and even secured a job at Stark International. Scott had all the desire to forget a life of crime and live a normal life together with his family. But after his daughter fell gravely ill and the only doctor that could save her had been kidnapped by a villain, Scott opted for a last resource. He decided on his last act of burglary, and with his skills, stole the Ant-Man suit and gear from Hank Pym's house. With Ant-Man's shrinking abilities, Scott was able to rescue the doctor held by Darren Cross and save his daughter's life. After that, Scott attempted to return the stolen suit and face justice. But based on his good intentions behind the robbery, Hank Pym allowed him to keep it, if he intended to use it not for himself, but for the good of others. Scott accepted the proposition, setting in motion his life as a superhero and becoming the new Ant-Man. Scott is a kind soul, caring deeply about his family and having a strong moral code, all the while being someone good-humored and energetic.
Just like I said for Wasp, if you want a good adaptation of Scott, check out Earth's Mightiest Heroes. His appearance is short, but amazing nonetheless. Right, now, for my version of Scott's Ant-Man, this one changed the most. That's to be expected, given how I'm tackling the design, but I mean this for the story as well. For this take, I chose to keep his essence through his personality and values, instead of his story arcs. So, if any Scott Lang enthusiasts feel sad about big changes, I totally get it. Okay, let's get to the Wasp sidekick, the young and bold Ant-Man. Scott is a very smart and inventive teenager. Like most 16-year-olds in his world, his fixation on superheroes is huge. Be they fictional or real, the kid's biggest dream is to one day fight amongst them. He's just waiting for the opportunity to knock on his door. And he's pretty sure that this day will come soon enough, given Scott Van Dyne's older sister is very well settled in the world of superheroes. Talking about his sister, she's been acting strange lately. She went back to the hero life out of nowhere, despite saying she was past that phase. This was great news to Scott, who had been waiting for his golden ticket. But waiting isn't all he's done. Some years ago, Scott used his know-how around technology to break into Hank Pym's house and steal his suit and gear. His justification? If Hank isn't using the powers of Ant-Man anymore, he might as well give them to someone willing to use them for good. Scott truly wanted to help, but all he got was a big scolding from Janet and a Pym particle-induced headache from messing around with side changing. Janet's return as the Wasp was great, but Scott couldn't help feeling worried. This new villain she's fighting feels like personal business, and it's making her act careless. He told her the recent Yellowjacket sighting was a trap, but she didn't listen. Now it's been 2 hours since she was last spotted. Scott couldn't sleep. His sister was nowhere to be found. Well, what Janet doesn't know, that Scott knows, that the Ant-Man suit wasn't returned to Hank's house. That Hank actually agreed to pass the mantle to Scott, and that the gear is dusting away in the attic, waiting to become the best 18th birthday gift ever. Scott hasn't slept since his sister disappeared 2 hours ago. There's no way he'd act clueless for 2 more years. Janet was fighting someone she used to love so much that she was holding her punches. But this someone, this villain, this person she knows or used to, given all the changes, is not holding back. Every strike hits like a truck. His new gear was clearly designed to hurt. With every sting from the Yellowjacket, Janet's heart grew sadder and her body weaker. That is until a new, or at least kinda new hero grew from the rubble. Someone who wasn't holding back punches. Someone who only cared about saving his family and defeating this villain. The Yellowjacket was defeated, but still managed to escape. Janet didn't approve of her brother putting himself in harm's way, but she appreciated his desire to help others. He lacked the technique, but his heart was in the best of places. The Wasp wasn't in need of any help, but Janet knew that if she ever found herself holding back punches against someone she used to know, the young and bold Ant-Man would be there to help. With Scott Van Dyne's backstory coming to a close, I leave you with the finished design for the young and bold Ant-Man.
Young, bold, and reliable. Is there a better sidekick than the new Ant-Man?
So, what you think? Personally, I loved it. I may be biased, of course. His design was heavily inspired by two characters I'm a huge fan of, Kamen Rider and Ultraman. Like, peep the helmet, the scarf, the belt, and Giant Man's suit.
The size of an ant and the force of a bullet. With a flowing red scarf and a pair of insectoid eyes, he has the power to transform into a giant hero. He's the Ant-Man. Ooh, that's cool. Now we just need a soundtrack.
He built his design around his Sentai inspirations, nodding to the fact that Scott Van Dyne is a huge fan of heroes. I also included nods to more classic Ant-Man suits, especially the one from Earth's Mightiest Heroes, like the circle patterns on his jacket and shoes and the soundwave display in his helmet's mouthpiece, which I tried to make resemble the mouthpiece on Kamen Rider's helmet.
Okay, to do. Win this battle, stop Doom from taking over space and time, help Jan knock some sense on the Yellowjacket, and looks like I don't have time for homework again. Cool.
Alright, character design talk done. Now for his abilities. Scott Van Dyne packs quite a punch, infusing every strike with thin particles. The unleashed energy makes any hit feel way more destructive. He can also shrink to zip around the battlefield, dashing, jumping, and even shooting himself towards enemies with the force of an actual bullet. Scott can also call on tiny helpers. His ant friends dig tunnels across the battlefield, linking both entrances with a particle-infused anthill, letting Scott and his allies teleport between them. And when being small isn't working, he unleashed his stored energy to become the tall, mighty Giant Man.
Giant Man! Handshake! Standing tall!
In this form, with increased defenses, he's able to carelessly stomp and swing around the battlefield, damaging whoever's close. And if his target's out of reach, he can unleash the remaining energy as a devastating particle beam. I gotta be 100% honest here, his kit sounds so fun, especially with the Giant Man ult. Alright, lore done, design done, abilities done, voice lines done, 2 rows finished, just 1 left. I've been teasing this character throughout the whole video, and now it's time for us to properly meet him.
Dr. Henry Jonathan Pym, or simply Hank Pym, first appeared in Tales to Astonish number 27 on January of 1962. A scientist genius and biochemist, best known for discovering the Pym particles, the subatomic particles capable of changing one's size. Over the decades, Hank's been part of some incredibly remarkable moments for Marvel Comics as a whole. Founding member of the Avengers, discoverer of the power source behind numerous heroes, and the creator of one of the Avengers' biggest foes, the murderous robot known as Ultron. Dr. Pym has had many identities. The first Ant-Man, Giant Man, Goliath, Wasp, and the Yellowjacket. The last one emerged during a moment of extreme psychological turmoil, highlighting a more ignorant, aggressive side of the typically calm and calculating Hank Pym. The Yellowjacket has been a foe, an ally, even an anti-hero. But regardless, he's always a glimpse into the complex, flawed mind of one of Marvel's oldest and most iconic characters. Ant-Man, Giant Man, Goliath, Wasp, Yellowjacket, all Dr. Hank Pym.
Okay, now that you're up to date, get comfortable as I design and tell you about my version of this amazing character, the dreaded Yellowjacket. Dr. Hank Pym was among the first members of the Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the Avengers. He, alongside the rest...
Is it recording? Where's the timer on the... Oh, okay. Hello, my name is Henry Jonathan Pym, and this is my first entry of a personal diary, as per request of my psychologist. I'll be talking to myself, as if I were talking to him, to see if he helps me open up on our weekly sessions. now to the start of all of this. You obviously know about the divorce. I mean, everyone knows. When you're a famous couple of famous superheroes, everything is public. How amazing. The divorce obviously took a toll on my psychological well-being, but the descent I've been experiencing for years now started before me and Janet broke up. It all started with Ultron, or as he likes to see it, my son. Though he obviously isn't my son, but you see, who he is regarding myself is a big part of the problem. Here's some knowledge from behind the scene. Ultron isn't a robot. His mind isn't programmed to work in a certain way. He's not a mindless machine following strings of code. He's a living being with an artificial mind being simulated on a robotic brain. It's quite simple, to be honest. And for his deeply complex mind, he needed a solid foundation, an initial spark, someone's brainwaves as a base to build upon. I used my brainwaves. The base that made it possible for this maniacal killing machine to become what he is now was my mind. He doesn't have my memories or experiences, but still, knowing I was the perfect base to create such a vile and destructive force was difficult. It's still very difficult. Ever since Ultron came online, since his first attack and the ones that followed, all the destruction, all the casualties, I started to have these episodes. I would pass out, my vision would fade to black, and I wake up sometime later doing weird and unusual things, working on strange machines or at uncommon places. I thought it would get better with time, but it only got worse. Janet tried to help me multiple times. We had dozens of really hard conversations, but I was never able to be truthful. I didn't want to admit that I had failed again. I didn't want to sound weak. Well, when you're working alongside a Slavic god, the world's strongest being and the most reliable, brave and warm-hearted woman in the world, you're bound to feel pressure to be competent as well. Close to the aftermath of me and Janet's wedding, we had a last long conversation. I passed out 2 minutes after it started. When I woke up, Janet was no longer there. I remember noticing some teardrops on my shirt, but I wasn't crying, so I can only imagine what I said to her, how badly I treated her. My colleagues also tried to talk with me. Even Stark did. I passed out during conversations with them as well. Stark's was the last one. He didn't cry at the end of it, but he sure was as mad as the Hulk after our talk. The divorce came right after that. I won't get into details because, everything around it was heavily televised. Neither I nor Janet had a say on that, of course. It's been more than a year now and I'm doing fine, trying to put my head back in the right place. Busy with my research as always. What I'm trying to say is, I am fine. And I don't think that cutting my budget will do any good for my mental health. I know that's the worry here. I know that's why my accountant suggested a psychiatrist in the first place. Because my sponsors are afraid that my mental health isn't fit to conduct my research. They're afraid I'm not fit to be associated with them anymore. They're afraid of me. Afraid of the scientist that has brought them rivers of money. They discovered a whole new particle that changed the world of heroes and science altogether. Oh, they're afraid. Just because I created a genocidal robot. Do they know how many robots I fought? How many times me and my friends almost died trying to save this planet? I saved their lives multiple times just so that they could live, to be afraid of me. I am fine. I know there's some information I withheld in the past, but I can assure you I'm telling the truth now. I'm being 110% truthful. So I really need you to believe me this time.
Lying once again. Dr. Hank isn't too fond of telling the truth. It never was. That's why he hasn't told you about me. He was always curious about my nature, about the blackout and weird impulses. He swallowed his pride for once in his life. Went to see Dr. Richards, a man that's smarter than him. Richards confirmed that there was no mechanical virus deep in his brain. He was fine. Then, he went to see Dr. Stephen Strange. The Sorcerer Supreme made it clear that magic had no involvement. He was fine. What's been affecting Dr. Pym's mind is not something out of the ordinary. It is a magic or nanotechnology, not a mutation or a curse. It's just trauma. Just some good old unattended trauma. Plain and simple. Something so incredibly normal. Incredibly human. And that's what hurts our doctor the most. I said he hasn't told you about me. That implies he knows about me. He uncovered the truth 2 months ago, 1 week after the Yellowjacket's debut on the streets of NYC. He fought against it at first, fought against me, but as days went by, he began to appreciate not being alone anymore, and I began to allow him to watch my strolls around the city. Hank didn't approve of the Yellowjacket at first, but when he saw how effective my methods were, oh, he was impressed. So impressed that he stopped being such a jerk about it. Now, we work together. If you were to ask him, he would deny it, of course. He would also deny that he loves me, but I know he does. He loves me so much that he even gave me a name. Henry, you believe it? We're working on a big project. What a spoiler. Roll the drums, please. Yellowjacket Wasps. We're loving to work with them. If our society worked like theirs, humanity could actually have a future. That's where the pheromones come in. We're already on the testing phase, trying to make them work on human systems. Oh, how great, how grand it will be. When the pheromones are done, humanity will finally prevail under the helping hand of the smartest, bravest, and fiercest of them all, Dr. Hank Pym, the Yellowjacket.
You know I can't send this audio anymore, now that you turned into a confession tape. Okay, just one more try. Hello, I'm Dr. Hank Pym.
Okay, so can you tell who my favorite character is? What can I say? Hank Pym is just my goat, and there isn't a best way for me to put it. Anyway, here's the finished design for the dreaded Yellowjacket.
From scientist to superhero, from Avenger to villain. Oh, Hank, what an interesting and messy life.
Not to be patting myself on the back or anything, but I can confidently say that this is my favorite Yellowjacket design. I like his classic look, but I felt something was missing, perhaps an extra theme. And for this redesign, that's exactly what I had in mind. I was heavily inspired by the classic mad scientist look. And well, considering the focus on Hank's declining mental health, it fits.
I normally don't do team-ups, but if Doom takes the win... Oh, no. I am the one who shall be victorious. Yes, I, the Yellowjacket.
For the design elements, I created a mad scientist look through the giant tubes, the pheromone container, his sci-fi particle gun, and obviously the coat. There's also some references to his classic design and other elements that tie to Hank's backstory. The giant tubes, for example, create a similar look to Yellowjacket's classic wings? I honestly don't know what they are. And I designed his helmet to evoke the look of Ultron's face. The giant glass container on his back is a machine called NEST, or Nest. It houses his colony of size-changing Yellowjackets and produces a particle-infused pheromone.
You know, I haven't been feeling like myself lately. It's difficult to think straight with such a voice in my head. As I was saying, those last years have been
great. The greatest ones in a very, very long time.
Shut up, Henry, shut up!
Okay, almost done. Let's get to his abilities. Hank uses his particle gun to shoot powerful sting blasts, fast projectiles that can damage enemies and heal allies. Differentiation between friend and foe is only possible due to his allies being marked by the Yellowjacket's particle-infused pheromones. The Yellowjacket also has good mobility for fights. His boots' particle thrusters allow him to quickly dash toward an ally or to launch himself up and away from danger. Dr. Pym's most reliable source of healing comes through his obedient, size-changing Yellowjackets. Hank uses his pheromone spray to guide the giant insects, commanding them to orbit around an ally, providing constant healing, or act as a turret, slowly healing allies in the area. And as a last effort on a losing battle, he sends in his loyal insects to swarm around a selected area. Every ally inside the swarm receives a small shield and constant healing, and every enemy that comes into contact with the deadly Yellowjackets has their size shrunken, making them more susceptible to knockback and damage.
Here's my pin particle pheromone concoction!
Pay attention, students. You're gonna need this for the exam.
So, we're finally done. Here's all the three beauties together. Yeah, I gotta say it, I'm proud of myself with these. They look neat. A retired superhero coming back with a fresh look, followed by an unwanted but reliable sidekick ready to start his crime-fighting career. And the two of them going against a new mad scientist supervillain with a master plan that will put everyone at risk. Thank you for watching. Seriously, I really mean it. I hope you liked the designs. And if you're a fan of any of these characters, I really hope I made them justice with my takes. I don't want to sound like the typical YouTube person, but if you like the video, be sure to give it a like and follow my channel for more. And I really mean more. Like, this is the type of content I love the most, and it's also the type that I always wanted to make. So if you like this type of content as much as I do, be sure to tag along, because there's way more coming. So if you're still watching, comment what else you want to see me tackle. I already have some well-developed ideas for 3 Ghost Rider designs, 1 for each role in the game, and even for 3 Deadlock characters. So be sure to go down in the comments and tell me what characters you want next. Okay, that's it. I talked too much. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you want to see the designs before they show up here. And I'll see you later. Ciao, ciao.